Welcome to Finding Your Way with Lori and Tonya. I'm Lori.
I'm Tonya.
So today we're going to talk about showing up. And really it's one of the first steps to success is you got to show up for whatever you're trying to succeed at, whether that's any area of your life, health, your relationships, your job, your career, your finances, anything.
Right.
The first step is to show up. And so today we're going to talk about what are those priorities for you, and are you actually spending time and showing up where your priorities lie? And then not just that, but you may physically be there, but is the energy you bring into that moment really showing up like you want to?
And how other people perceive you. So I think a lot of times we think of showing up as we're physically there, right?
Yeah.
So I showed up at work today. I was there. But were we there in a way truly energetically, mentally, emotionally? Did we show up in order to accomplish what our goals are? And I think that the first thing you have to have are some goals, some things that you know that you want, and it can be small things. I just want to be happy at work. I want to accomplish these three things. But it takes not just physically being there, but being there and showing up 100%. And it's hard sometimes to give 100% in one place when other places are needing more attention. So understanding those priorities and prioritizing those things and showing up in all places.
Yeah, I know. I've said it. I don't know how many. If I had a nickel for every time I said, "Well, I'm physically here, but mentally I'm not here." I've done that so many times during my life, and so it is really getting clear on what your priorities are. If health is a priority, are you showing up for your own health? So, are you doing the things that get you to a healthier space? Are you sleeping enough? Are you exercising? Are you eating the right foods? Are you doing the things? If work is a priority and you've set that, you've got a deadline you're trying to meet, are you showing up in that area, or are you so stretched thin doing all the other responsibilities that you have that you're really not all that successful in any area because you spread so thin? So it's just really thinking through what those priority
and being
areas
present,
are.
being present in the moment. We spend, and we talked about this a lot of times. We go from walking out the door and having an argument with our significant other to walking in the door at work, and we're there, right? We're present at work, but our mind is on that argument we had. So we have to live in the present moment. We have to let that go for now. And live and do what is right here in front of us. And really, that's where we need to spend our energy. And if we want to be successful in any areas, we have to be present at that moment, in that time and space, on where we are.
What's that quote? It always gets me when I see it. It's around, if you don't heal from things that happen, then you are going to bleed on people that don't cut you, that haven't cut you. So that's the same thing. You had an argument at home, you get at work, and then somebody says something that really isn't that big of a deal, and you go off on them.
And then you bled on them, and they didn't want to cut you, right?
So it is about being present and being in the moment and not carry. We all have so many roles and responsibilities that we carry with us, but to really be successful, you have to be focused a little bit, and you have to have those, be in the moment of whatever you're working on at that time.
And I think for me, a great example of this is I accepted a position that required a lot of me. It required a lot of my time, a lot of my mental and physical energy. And at the time, I had 3 small children. My boys were fairly young at the time. And so I will tell you, during that 4 or 5 year stint with that organization, I learned a lot business and professionally, but I put my family on the back burner because I showed up so heavily and so often, and that position required so much effort and mental abilities that I was not showing up for my family. And I feel like I didn't recognize that quite so much at the time. I did recognize something was off. And I also knew that my family life was suffering some. But I think now when I know what I know, I realized how much I was not showing up for them. And it was a time where they needed me. They needed me a lot more than what they were getting of me. And I think that I look back on that and it's a great lesson learned. But it also gives me a lot of opportunity for doing better. And I have, based on that experience, gotten a lot better at really prioritizing that family piece and recognizing when I'm looking at my phone and my child is talking to me and what I'm looking down at is not that important. And so I put it down for a second and I turn to him and ask what he said, and we have a conversation about whatever it is. But for him, I just showed up. It's those small little things as much as it is the big pieces. And when you show up in your relationships, especially, other people will start showing up for you too.
Yeah, so, I have this, I think everybody's got that same example where at one point in our life we've been so heavily focused on one thing that we neglect other things. And so for me, it really is, I'm Capricorn and I come from a line of overworkers. And so, putting so much energy and effort into work that I forgot about myself. What about me? And what about, am I taking care of myself? Am I spending any time on my relationship with God? Just that self filling your own cup before you give to others, because I think sometimes we can get so lopsided on we're givers and we're going to give and give and give and give. But at some point you're depleted where you're giving from that depleted space versus giving from a place of love and,
right.
and fullness.
So don't forget that showing up also means showing up for yourself.
That's right.
It's not showing up for everybody else and everything else. A lot of times it's when we talk about the health piece, when we talk about mental wellness piece, it is showing up for ourselves, because when we show up for ourselves, we have the cup full so that we can show up for other people. And I think it's also important to look at how you're showing up. When you walk into a room of people, how does your energy enter that room before you do? What do people think about? Are you in a frizzy and a panic and you're late and you walk in and you're buzzing so much that everybody's now all of a sudden inhaling and wondering what's going on, and now that you've changed the whole energy of the room? Or when you walk in, do people get calm? Can they breathe again? Can they want to be in your presence because you give them that good feeling? So I think, how we show up for other people in a room. Think about when you walk into a room. And sometimes if you'll just sit back and wait for somebody else to walk into a room, especially if you're in a small group of people, 10 to 12 people, and you watch one person walk into the room and you just take note. How does that energy change? How does that feeling change when that person walks in? And then start thinking about, okay, now I know how they show up, or how I feel when they show up. I can be a little bit more intentional about how I make other people feel when I walk into a room.
So intention. That's what all it's about, is being more intentional, not being so scattered and unfocused that you're not intentional about how you're showing up, the energy that you're bringing. So once you've sort of identified your priorities, okay, I want to spend my time doing these things because they're the most important to me right now in my life. And then are you showing up with a good attitude? Are you showing up focused? Are you showing up to do the best in that area that you absolutely can? Or just because you're there doesn't mean you're all there, And so it is like taking note of both things. Where you're showing up and how you're showing up when you get there.
And people read that, and they are attracted or repelled from that. So I think the intention is when you walk in the room. I know for me, and we've gotten better about setting intentions. I set an intention now before I do a lot of things. Sometimes it's going to dinner with a group of friends. I'll sit in my car for a second and say, okay, my intention is to enjoy myself, to laugh a lot, to make everybody feel comfortable and warm, and to feel invited and inviting. And when I walk in the room, it's almost like a calm, because I have said what I want to happen before I walk into that room. Now, if I'm late and I get out of my car quickly and I don't set that intention, sometimes I walk in a frenzy and, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And my high buzzy energy makes everybody else high buzzy. So just be careful and be a little cognizant about how you're showing up and how other people perceive you.
Yeah, because I mean, if you're wanting to succeed, which all of us are wanting success in something. It can be small, it can be huge. I mean, we're all wanting to be better tomorrow than we were today, or I believe that.
Yeah,
I want that for myself anyway. And so, to do that, to be successful, you have to really sort of take stock of, are you putting time where you say is most important, and then when you are spending that time there, are you doing it with intention and with just a sense of all in? Are we all in when we're there? Absolutely.
So I think showing up, what we'd love for you guys to take away from this is just do a little stock on how you're showing up. How does it feel? How do others show up for you? And then putting yourself in a position to change the way you're showing up if it doesn't feel good and feel like it's serving you.
Yeah.
So, all right. So if you thought this was a great video, if you liked it, if you got some tidbit of information from it, please like us here. Subscribe to our YouTube page. Share with your friends. Anybody you think could use this information, please share. That's what it's all about for us, is just teaching you guys some things that it's taken us a long time to learn, and we hope that nobody else has to take as long as we do.
Nope.
We've got a great Facebook page too called the Positive Vibe Tribe. Check us out there. We've got several thousand members. Every single day there's something fun in our news feed that's positive and that really resonates. So like us here, share here, but also check us out on Facebook.
All right.
All right, thanks guys.